it's Kelly with CruiseLikeaDavis, and we just got back from our back-to-back cruise off the beautiful Jewel of the Seas. I wanted to show you exactly what it takes to do a back-to-back. So we're going to walk you step by step in real time as it was happening, how we got off the ship and then got right back on. All right, so we met in the main dining room on deck number 5 at 9 a.m. There were 36 total back-to-back cruisers, and you'll see here around 9:15 they came and got us from the main dining room. The Coast Guard requires that each ship have a quote zero count end quote. So that means that even back-to-back cruisers have to actually get off the ship so the Coast Guard can come on and ensure that the ship has a zero count of passengers, and then of course get right back on. So this is our first time to do a back-to-back cruise, and they did leave us that consecutive cruisers letter in our stateroom the day before. The letter stated all kinds of things, but one of the most exciting things that it said was they will be providing lunch in the main dining room for all of the back-to-back or consecutive cruisers. However, when we arrived this morning, the Royal Caribbean officer that was doing this for us, they said, quote, "Due to the number of back-to-back cruisers, we will not be able to accommodate the lunch today," end quote. I thought that was interesting because obviously Royal Caribbean knew how many back-to-back cruisers were going to be from the 3-day cruise to the 4-day cruise. So they should have probably not included that in the letter. I had known and read about back-to-back cruisers, and I kind of knew what to expect. And this was something that I was looking forward to. And I think since they knew how many cruisers were going to be consecutive cruisers, I think it would have been smart and a little bit more of a PR move had they not included that in the letter. I was a little bit disappointed, but we've said this before, a cruise is what you make of it, and I definitely wasn't going to let that spoil my day. Okay, I've got to eat the Windjammer. It's not the worst thing in the world. So you'll see here, we walked out of the dining room and we got all the way to where all the other passengers, in fact, all 2,100 had just disembarked, but it was our time to disembark the ship. So we still had our same 3-day cards from our 3-day cruise in our hand, and we had to literally get that ding to get us off of the ship. And again, this is a U.S. maritime law for Coast Guard to get onto the ship and have a zero count. So you'll see I got dinged off the ship. We're going to walk across the gangway here, all 36 of us consecutive cruisers. In fact, the person who just walked in front of us is, in fact, the captain. We didn't realize it at the time, although Chris and I had wondered, and he was actually coming to see his wife, who was going to be embarking on the ship for this next sailing at least. I don't know how long she was going to stay on there, but it was kind of cool to see the captain. He also got dinged off the ship and got into the terminal there with us here in Fort Lauderdale. So again, this was just the first step. We met in the main dining room. We waited just a little while, and then we got off the ship. The Port Everglades terminal for about 15 minutes. They gave us new cards, and we were ready for cruise number 27. All right, it's time to go. So we got our cards. We went down the escalator with all 36 back-to-back or consecutive cruisers, and we were about to enter the customs area. Now keep in mind, again, they gave us a new card for this 4-day cruise. We all just have our, IDs or passports, whatever you need. And we entered the customs area. So we had to walk through here. They had just disembarked and ended a 3-day cruise. You'll see here we're getting closer into the customs area. Unfortunately, I cannot video during that particular section, just for security reasons. So here we are. We've been through the security port right up there. They actually didn't even need our passports. We brought them with us because we were told to, but just like when we've gotten back on most of our cruises, they have the facial recognition software, so they actually did not need our passports at that time. So this gives you a great look of the Port Everglades. This was actually terminal number 25, which is where we had this turnaround on this day. we actually embarked at terminal number 19, but for this 3-day cruise, and then again after our 4-day cruise, we were at terminal number 25. So you'll see there's some officers from Royal Caribbean here. There's a couple of workers from Royal Caribbean here, just kind of standing with us, 36 back-to-back cruisers. We got to know some of these people. It was really interesting. There was actually a mom and a daughter, an older daughter, who had 5 back-to-back consecutive cruises, and this was their last one. So that was really cool. You'll see the Coast Guard officer just went into the security there and was giving them the 0 count because all of us had been scanned off of the cruise, and then we just got scanned back into the cruise for this next 4-day part of our consecutive cruise. All right, let's get back on the beautiful Jewel of the Seas and let's get cruise number 27 started. So this is our walk back. You'll see here we have an entertainment staff member from the Jewel of the Seas that is walking back with us. And I say it entertainment staff. It's actually part of the cruise director's staff who's going to be walking back with us. And we're just going to take you right back onto the ship. Now, let me tell you guys, I could get used to this walk. No luggage in tow, no bags, just a small crossbody with my passport. This right here, I was loving it. So you'll see we didn't even have to go through the escalator there. We go into a different escalator. This is actually where the crew come in. And we were able to get back on the ship this way. So again, this is terminal number 25, Port Everglades in Fort Lauderdale. It was an incredibly easy embarkation. In fact, I would say the easiest embarkation of cruise number 26, the first part of our back-to-back that we've ever had after 25 cruises. I don't know if it was because we had a later than normal arrival time of 11:30 or if this is just this particular port, but I kid you not, from the time we stepped out of the Uber to our very first ding on the Jewel of the Seas was less than 10 minutes. I mean, that's a dream, guys, an absolute dream. So again, here we are. We're just kind of walking through the terminal. You'll see that they're just now getting their photographers and their backdrops ready for the next group of passengers boarding the Jewel of the Seas today. And it's just so awesome to see what is going on here on this part of the ship. All right, so we're going to continue walking here. We're about to get on the gangway so we can board the Jewel of the Seas again. This has been a really, really cool experience. I think overall, Chris and I have talked about it. I'm not really sure. It kind of had a weird vibe. Usually on day number 4, we're either at sea or we're at port, and here we are getting on and off the ship. It was interesting, but it was really cool and just another thing that we can add to our cruise adventures. We've been on now, this will be 27 cruises, and we really enjoy going to places like Coco Cay, the Royal Caribbean private island, as well as, being able to cruise from a new port such as Fort Lauderdale, or even last year we cruised out of Miami. And so I really like being able to do something different, something unique, especially something like this back-to-back cruise. I mean, how often can people say that they've done a back-to-back cruise? So this was, again, a really, really unique experience. And you're going to see here in just a second, in this very short amount of time, because this was taken in real time, you'll see that we are right back on the Jewel of the Seas. Once again, this is Kelly with CruiseLikeaDavis, and we hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please like and subscribe to our channel, because this is how you cruise like a Davis.